Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Franchise Interviews. For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 6 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bill Chemero, the executive vice president of Jakes Wayback Burgers. And Wayback Burgers began back in 1991 as Jakes Hamburgers with a single restaurant in Newark, Delaware, which still occupies its original location on Route 273. And we're going to talk to Bill about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we've got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities, or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 6 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews. And as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bill Chemero, the executive vice president of Jakes Wayback Burgers. Wayback Burgers began in 1991 as Jakes Hamburgers with a single restaurant in Newark, Delaware. Hey, Bill, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great, Marty. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, Bill. Thanks for coming on the show. I've been following you guys for a while now, and I realize we've never had you on the show, so I'm glad to finally have you on the show today. And we always like to ask our guests where you're calling from this morning.
I am calling from Cheshire, Connecticut, at our corporate offices.
That's fantastic. How's the weather there today, Bill?
It is overcast and rainy, but that's something that we've been accustomed to for the last week or two.
Yeah, it seems like that here in Pennsylvania, too. We're not that far from you guys, so that's something. Well, hopefully it clears up for July 4th, right?
Well, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, fantastic. Can you describe the history of Jakes Wayback Burgers, Bill? I mean, they have an interesting history, don't they?
We do. It started back in 1991, like you had indicated earlier, and it was really out of a situation where the founder found himself out of work after many years in the accounting business.
Wow.
And decided that he wanted to be a little bit more in control of his destiny, and remembered the days of when he worked at a burger joint down in Delaware during his high school and college days, and one thing led to another, and he decided to go into the burger business.
Wow.
That was in 1991 with that single store in Newark, Delaware, which was only 900 square feet. It was a proverbial roadside stand.
And it's still there, isn't it, Bill?
It is.
I understand.
It is.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It still has outside bathrooms, so it is definitely a throwback or way back to the time of burger shacks on the side of the road.
Sure, absolutely. I was at a franchise show recently, Bill, in New York, and it seems like the typical question when a prospective franchisee comes up to a table is, the franchisor. So what do you guys do? How do you typically respond to that question when an aspiring franchisepreneur asks you?
Well, I mean, we have great products. Our burger has been, quoted as one of the best burgers on the market. It's a proprietary blend of beef. Our milkshake, same thing, fresh ice cream, fresh milk. A lot of awards, but it really boils down to the customer's reaction to the customer service. I mean, we go above and beyond with our customer service. We greet the customers when they come in the store, at the register. Once completing their order, we ask for their name, which in a lot of cases people find that odd, but we want to get on a first-name basis with regular customers. When they come in, we greet them by name. We do bring the food to their tables so that they don't have to get up and come to the register. And that's the difference between fast food and fast casual.
Right.
You order at the register, and then you're served at your table without tips. So, what makes us different, I think, is the fact that we really spend a tremendous amount of time on educating our franchisees on the power of customer service. Wow.
And I've heard, too, I've never had Jakes Burgers before, but I've heard from other people that the burgers are truly out of this world, so I can see after this show I'm going to be starving after talking to you. But I think that's great, though. It's interesting how asking for the customer's name. I think that's very clever. What a great way to build rapport. Some businesses, they deal with the same customers over and over again, and they don't know their name for years. So I think that's very powerful, being part of the franchise.
Psychologically, one of the most comforting things in the English language is your name.
Sure, absolutely. So that's very clever. I love that.
Make them feel special.
Absolutely.
And hence the name Wayback Burgers, because back in the 20s and 30s, at the turn of the century, customer service was an expectation.
Sure, it was.
In today's restaurant world, maybe not so. So we want to bring back the customer service into the limelight, saying, you come into Jake's, we're going to treat you great, and we're going to give you good food too.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's fantastic. I'm sure times have changed, since 1991. How has technology played a role in the business today, Bill?
Well, more so, and this is one of the real attractive features to a Jake's franchise, other than the cost of entry, is the size of the stores. A couple of years ago, we decided to go smaller because of the costs of running a store with rent and utilities and such. Problem with that is you have less tables and chairs. So how do you do as much volume as some of the bigger competitors in a smaller footprint? Well, technology came into play, and it's really more so now in the restaurant industry than it has been in a long time, and that's online ordering. Our online ordering has increased dramatically to where if you're going to go to Jake's for lunch, and it's going to be crowded, and you're going to stand in line for 15, 20 minutes, Instead of doing that, you can actually go online to our online ordering service, pick your foods, your drinks, your sides. You tell us what time you're coming into the store to pick up your food on a drop-down menu, and you pay for it online one time. So when you come into the store, you skip the line at the register. You go over to the food area, declare your name, which is another part of the reason we get your name. And you can pick up your food in a bag with your name on it, and at that point, you can either sit down and eat if a table or chair is available, or take it back to the office. And it's it just seems to be around the lunchtime because everybody goes to lunch at the same time.
That's great.
Other
I love
technology
that service.
is our POS system. I mean, if you are an owner-operator, you have all the information on an hourly basis, weekly basis, right at your fingertips as far as sales and what constitutes those sales. If you're an investor sitting in your office somewhere else, you can tie into the computer system. You can, if you've installed a camera system, you can actually see what's going on in the store sitting in your office. Once again, you can check your sales hourly. So technology has definitely made it into the restaurant world.
Yeah, the technology is fascinating. You know, when you hear about all these different things you can do today, you know, versus back in 1991, it certainly has come a long way, hasn't it?
Our ordering service will actually our computer system will actually tell you every Monday what you need to order from your food supplier with the click of a button.
It's like you don't even have to think anymore, do you? I mean,
you don't have to walk. You don't have to walk into the freezer anymore.
Oh, it really is something. The industry that you're in, I guess we can say it's pretty big. I don't know if there's any hard numbers, Bill, on your industry.
Yeah, there are some hard numbers. I mean, collectively, the burger market, I think, is a $65 billion a year
could you imagine?
market. It's being dominated, of course, by the big three. It's Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's. But a lot of these economists say that the better burger market or the fast casual market is taking about a $25 billion slice out of that total amount. So, hence you're seeing a lot of the concepts like McDonald's and Burger King, Wendy's going with premium burgers.
Right.
They're starting to name their burgers, and that's one of the attractive features that we've done since 1991. Is we've had a burger of the month and a milkshake of the month since then that we create, and some wild concoctions. But it's one of the things that a lot of the customers come in every month is to see what next month's burger of the month is.
Wow. That's great. There's other things on the menu too, isn't there, Bill? I mean, I understand. It's like you have like house-made potato chips and chicken sandwiches and it's just a variety. So I mean, you can pretty much go to Jakes, I think, more often, than some of those other places that you may have mentioned.
Well, once again, it's another part of our attractiveness and one of our positive features is the menu. We think that's what really makes us different. Yes, we are definitely a burger place for sure.
Right,
but even if you love my burgers, which a lot of our customers do, is you can't eat them every day. So where do you go to lunch those other days? Well, you go to other food types. So we made the decision 4 or 5 years ago to make other offerings on the menu that if you really like the service, you like the price points, we're convenient to your office or home, and you feel like a salad, or maybe it's a day where you're going to count your calories, you can have a nice salad. You can have a grilled chicken sandwich. We have crispy chicken sandwiches. So it's morphed into a nice menu that's easy to execute by minimum wage employees, but diversified enough that we have something on the menu for everyone. We have veggie burgers. We have turkey burgers. So if you just want to try different things throughout the week, we have that available to you. For religious purposes, for the 40 days of Lent, we came out with the fish, the WB cod sandwich. So once again, we keep changing it up for the customers.
That's fantastic. What's been one of the most interesting things that have happened to you since joining Jakes? I'm sure there's a number of different stories, Bill, so it's hard to narrow it down to one. But anything stand out?
Excuse me. I just think that the one thing that really stands out is the amount of customer feedback we get from our franchisee stores, from their customers, and how they enjoyed the atmosphere, the attention that they get. Someone asking them if they would like a refill on their sodas. Do they need more napkins? Right. Just the feedback that we get, I think, has been the biggest surprise. I guess we didn't really anticipate on how starved for customer service the customers really are.
Wow,
and that was a very positive surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. So what kind of characteristics do you look for in your franchisees then, Bill?
Well, another unique feature of ours is we actually prefer non-restaurant oriented franchisees. Now that may sound odd, but it's not. It means that you don't have any bad habits or you don't have any preconceived methodologies that we have to change. So do you need to be a burger flipper or a cash register person? No, not at all. We look for people that have good, solid, strong people skills, because that's what it's all about. You're in the customer service business. You just happen to be selling burgers for a living.
That's something. So what about the training then? I mean, once you decide that, you like them, they like you, and it kind of becomes a marriage after that, how does the training work? Do they typically come to corporate headquarters? How does that work?
Well, it's a 25-day program. The first 10 days is where you're actually going to a certified training store in your area to learn all the ins and outs of the business. So you're actually going to be an unpaid employee of a local store teaching you how to make the burgers and ring the register and all the cleaning systems. So you know the business inside and out. That's number one. And then you come for 5 days of training to what we call Wayback University here in Connecticut. That's management training and ownership training, where we really dive down into the details of running a business. And then the last 10 days, one of our corporate trainers will come to your store 5 days before you open to the public. They'll make sure your employees are well trained. They'll run through the systems with you. We'll have a dry run we call it Friends and Family, where we offer free food to the public. It's for a 2-3 hour event. It's always very, very well attended. And then if everything goes well and the trainer thinks that your team is ready to go, they open to the public. And what we do differently than a lot of the other franchise concepts out there is after the store opens to the public, the trainer will stay for another 5 days to make sure everything goes smoothly. And if there is a problem, that they can jump in and help out. And then they slowly pull themselves out of the involvement on a day-to-day basis. And by the 5th day, they're pretty much doing nothing more than observing. So 25 days altogether.
Wow, that's important. How would you describe, for someone who has no experience in this type of business, this type of franchise, how would you describe a typical day if there is such a thing, Bill?
Most franchisees arrive in their stores typically about 9. They, for lack of better words, they turn everything on. Right. And when you buy a franchise, you're really buying a system.
Sure.
We're very high tech. We have our own intranet system where if they had any questions, they certainly can go online to the intranet and pull up any one of our operations manuals to get the information they need, assuming they can't get a franchise coordinator on the phone. And then their day starts about 9 o'clock, and they'll go through the startup of the day, do a little prepping, and typically their first employee, if they're going to be an owner-operator, their first employee comes in around 10 just to do a final clean, and then open to the public at 10:30. And then they, most owners will stay till about 4 or 5 in the day, and then they turn it over to a manager.
That's great. I'm sure the day goes by very fast.
Well, yes. In the first couple of 3 months, most owners are there just about 24/7. They don't need to be, but they feel they have to be. Sure. And then they finally realize that the systems will take care of everything, and they start to pull back on their time.
That's great. Yeah. What kind of location do you look for? I mean, you mentioned that, there's not a lot of space that's required, to open up a Jakes Wayback Burgers, but is there an ideal location? I mean, do you look to be like on a main strip, or how does that work?
Yes. Well, we actually have 5 different models now. We've evolved to that point. We have the standalone, which is on the street corner. Okay. Then we have the end cap, which is outdoor dining or even a drive-through. That's the preferred location. That's typically about 1,800 square feet. In a shopping center that has a lot of exposure. You can see it from the road, a lot of traffic, preferably at a stoplight. But then we have the inlines, and then the new kid on the block is the Wayback Express unit, which is designed for airports, malls, universities, and military bases.
That's great.
So we could go anywhere from 600 square feet up to about 2,000.
Wow. It's nice to have that flexibility, too, isn't it? It's
it's nice for the aspiring entrepreneur, who wants to get involved in your system, that they have a couple different choices that, with some systems it seems like there's just one choice and that's it, So I think that's fantastic.
I mean, one of the real positive things is we have quite a few what they call multi-unit operators that started with a single store.
Right.
And then they decided that based on their experience in the unit economics that they wanted to do a second store. And their second store might only be a couple miles down the road, but it might be in the mall. So we have all these different models to accommodate, the growth based on each individual city.
That's fantastic. So you've been involved in franchising for a while now, Bill. The majority of our listeners we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. They have it in their mind that they want to buy a franchise, but we find that most of them don't even know where to begin. What advice would you give to them?
Do your homework. And what I mean by that is research several different options. And typically, people will start to gravitate towards what they know in life from their past experiences or their past skill sets. Doesn't necessarily mean that's the best spot for you, but sometimes stepping outside that box and going into different worlds can be exciting. But do your homework, talk to the franchisor, go visit them, spend a day with them, go into the stores, talk to franchisees. It's all about relationships. And then we can do a business deal after if everyone's comfortable with the relationship. So that's what we look at is making sure that everyone's coming in with eyes wide open. We're not in a big hurry to sell franchises, but and going back to your question is they shouldn't be in a hurry to purchase one either. Take their time, do their homework, talk to a lot of franchisees, get a feel for the level of support because that's what they're going to need. If they don't have a restaurant experience, they're going to need a lot of help, a lot of support, backup, guidance, training. Make sure that's in place. That would be my advice.
No, I think that's great advice. It's very well said. So, what are the plans for the future for Jakes Wayback Burgers?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because I was hoping you're going to ask that question. We have been very fortunate. We've been very successful. We grow our business one store at a time. We do have some multi-unit operators now. We've been discovered by certain brands and their operators that are now getting into the burger business. But we've now expanded internationally. We have a great partner over in the Middle East that has agreed to help us grow 28 countries.
Wow.
So the growth has been very good. Success has been very, very high. So I think it all boils down to the fact that we get to know our franchisees before they're franchisees. We want to make sure that we can get along together and work together.
That's fantastic. That's great. I'm looking forward to you coming to our area, by the way. I don't know, are you guys in Eastern Pennsylvania yet, or are you heading close to our area?
Yeah, we Eastern Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia market?
Pretty much, yeah. We're about 50 miles from Philadelphia.
Yeah, if you go to www.waybackburgers.com.
Okay.
You click on the locations tab. I think you'll find 4 or 5 stores in that area that you can go try.
Wow, that's fantastic. That is great. Is that the best way for our listeners to get more information too, Bill, on becoming a franchisee? Is the website they should go to?
Absolutely. We had 40 new franchisees come on board last year, and 22 of them were customers at existing stores.
I imagine that's probably how it works. I think that's great. Well, it's great to finally have you on the show, Bill, and I'd already like to invite you back next year as you guys continue to grow.
Absolutely. Let us know. We'd be more than happy to participate.
Thanks, Bill. You have a happy July 4th, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. And today's podcast is being brought to you by Franchise Times Magazine. Franchise Times is the only magazine that targets both franchisors and multi-unit franchisees, and is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise. You know, Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews now over 4 years and over 200 shows, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on our show. The nice thing about hosting Franchise Interviews is we're frequently asked to be guests on radio shows and magazine interviews on the topics of entrepreneurship and franchising. And today you're going to get to hear an interview that we did 6 months ago on CBS Radio with Lynn Johnson on her motivational talk show. And of course the topic was entrepreneurship and franchising. And here's what we said. I think you guys will enjoy it.
Hey, did you ever think about buying a franchise? Do you think that now is the worst time to buy one? Or you're not sure whether anyone would loan you money to purchase a franchise? How does the whole thing work? Well, let's find out. We have an expert on the line, Marty McDermott.
Hi, Coach Lynn. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's always great to talk to you. I always feel like it's a World Talk reunion, right? We get together.
I know. We started out, guys, a very long time ago. I think we're some of the only people left, aren't we?
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? But it's just, and it seems like yesterday that we started, Lynn. You know?
It really does.
It's just incredible. But it's the success that you've had is just wonderful to watch, though. I mean, it's just incredible.
Thank you so much. And yours has been pretty fantastic. You know, Marty, just over the break, when I announced that you were going to be here talking about franchises, I got a tweet from Alice and a lot of other people, but I selected Alice's tweet.
Oh, good.
Because she says that her family has owned the same bagel shop for over 35 years.
Wow.
But now they're going to have to close because the business has slowed and their debts are too high. She wonders if setting up her own franchises could save their business. So, Marty, I know you're an expert and you host that wonderful show called Franchise Interviews on Blog Talk Radio.
That's right.
Are franchises for everyone?
Oh, great question, Lynn. It's a deep question, and definitely not. In fact, you know what? If I can quote my friend Dr. John P. Hayes, franchising is not for everyone, and it's probably not for most people. And when I say that, you know, the first time I heard that phrase, Lynn, I was a little confused because I said, if franchising isn't for everyone and it's not for most people, then who could it be for? You know, it's but franchising is really for someone who knows how to follow rules, follow systems. They're not a true entrepreneur. When I say that, sometimes franchisees get upset because they say, what are you talking about? I consider myself an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is really the person that actually creates the franchise opportunity. And, you know, when you're talking about franchisors or entrepreneurs, they're really, and you know this, Lynn, they're very creative people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can look at something.
I could never follow rules, Marty.
Exactly, and they could just create something out of anything, you know. Franchisees, and it was funny because I was in Virginia at George Mason University on Friday talking about this topic, and one of the topics I was talking about was military being good candidates for franchises because they know how to follow a system, you know. So you really have to know how to follow a system, like to follow rules, and if you can't do that, then it's probably not for you, Lynn. So, yeah, it's always a word of caution before getting into franchising.
Now, I know that you say that there are two key factors that should be present before you consider buying a franchise. What are those factors?
Well, it depends. There's a lot of different things. I mean, one is, what do you want the franchise to do for you, Lynn? You know, for example, like I'll give you an example. I like Dunkin' Donuts. You know, I frequent Dunkin' Donuts probably several times a week. And as much as I like Dunkin' Donuts and the coffee and the donuts, I wouldn't be a good franchisee for that type of system, because when you buy into a Dunkin' Donuts, you're working some pretty hefty hours.
True.
You know? So one of the questions you have to ask yourself is, what's important to you? You know, you're really taking a deep assessment. And for me, you know, my family is most important to me. So if I wasn't, you know, with my family or my son, like if he has a baseball game one day or whatever it is, I'm going to get very frustrated, even if I'm making a lot of money. You know, so you want to ask yourself, what do you want this franchise to do for you, and you know, what kind of system is the best match for you? There's so many choices out there today, Lynn. I mean, there's like 80 different industries.
Wow.
Franchising. Yeah, a lot of people, when they just think of franchising, they just think of food, but it's actually up to about 80 different industries. There's accounting franchises, there's advertising franchises, there's shoe repair franchises, you name it. It seems like they have it, you know. So you really have to ask yourself, you know, what's the best match for you?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of research. And, you know, of course you come down to the financials,
yes.
too. And, you know, I mean, you know, McDonald's, as successful as it is, it's almost a home run every single time you have a McDonald's franchise. I can't afford one, you know, so the financial aspects are always a big factor as well. I think to go even deeper, I think you need family support. I think that's important as well, you know. I mean, if you're married, I think you have to have that support from your husband or your wife before you get into an opportunity as well, because you're taking them along for the ride with you.
I love that you said that, Marty.
Absolutely.
Do you know what you said?
True.
You said you need the support from your husband, which would infer that a woman could easily go in and buy a franchise. I love that.
Absolutely. Well, you know, you can see the influence my wife has on me, too, I guess. She's got me trained, Liz, you know. She's a fan of your show, by the way, too, you know, so you can tell I listen, you know. But absolutely. But it's so true. And, you know, speaking of women, Lynn, I mean, they really do make fantastic entrepreneurs, you know. I mean, it's amazing. I think for the first time, you know, I teach for Kaplan University.
Yes.
And we have, in colleges, for the first time, there's more women in college today than there are men.
And they're older as well.
They're older, you know. So what does that say to you, you know, is there's a lot of exciting trends that are taking place here in the United States, so.
Now, I wanted to ask you about this because I know that they just announced that even Ritz Camera is going to be closing many, many, many of their stores, and I'm kind of heartbroken about that because I'm an amateur professional photographer.
Right.
But my question is, so how do you know if the franchise that you're interested in is even going to be around in the next 5 years?
Wow, it's a great question, you know, and nothing is ever 100% certain. I will say this, that not all franchises are created equal, and what you can do is, I mean, look at the company's track record for one. You know, one of the things that you can look at is their franchise disclosure documents, and look at the history of the company. Some companies that just started franchising, I mean, they haven't really been around very long, you know, so you're kind of taking a chance in a way. You know, and you can look at how many franchisees they have and things like that. I think there's certain franchises that are always going to be around. I think McDonald's will always be here. They have like 33,000 units. Subway has about 33,000 units. So those ones are pretty safe. It's almost a home run every single time. So there is always that element of risk involved, even when you are buying into a franchise system. You know, of course, you can look at things like the market and things like that and kind of make your own assessments, but
so, Marty, with all that you know, because I have 1 minute left, and I definitely want them to come and listen to you, because I love your show on Blog Talk Radio.
Thanks so much, Lynn.
And I want them to check out your work. It's very, very important. Are franchises still a viable option even with this economic downturn?
Most definitely. I mean, I think, Lynn, and this is going to sound a little weird, is, one of the interesting effects of the recession I see now is some of the best offers in franchising.
Interesting.
And I've been doing this 10 years now. I'll give you a couple quick examples. Some franchisers, what they're doing is they're reducing or dropping a franchise fee for their new franchisees. Now, that's pretty significant because a franchise fee usually goes for about $30,000, $40,000. So they're waiving that. In some cases, there's 2-for-1 deals where if you buy one franchise, they'll drop the franchise fee for the second one.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so it's really, and that's the effect that I've noticed from the recession is really some incredible deals. Even the landlords right now, and you've noticed there's a lot of great locations available right now.
Yes.
I think, you want to get those locations because, a great location can really overcome bad marketing, and there's going to be a lot of people kicking themselves. Next year, they're going to say, I should have got into that opportunity last year when they waived the franchise fee, when I could have got this killer location in this particular spot. And, landlords are sometimes more willing to give a great lease to a franchise as opposed to, let's say, Tony Subs, who's just like a regular guy.
So somewhere Tony's saying, hey!
Exactly. Tony's upset. But, so they're really getting some incredible deals right now. I think that this is the most exciting time to get into franchising. But again, to quote you, Linda, franchising isn't for everyone. It's not for most people. You do have to really do your homework. It's not guaranteed every single time. And, not all franchises are really created equal. There are some that are better than others.
Well, Marty, it's a pleasure to hear your voice and talk to you again.
It's a pleasure to hear your
and
voice.
Where
too.
can my...
I think you're great.
Thank you. I love you, too.
Thanks, Coach Lynn.
Where can my people hear you, do business with you, and all those wonderful things?
Absolutely. Go to franchiseinterviews.com. You can hear I think we're up to 160 shows, Lynn, recorded up to this point. Yeah, so it really, when I say that number, it just really, it tickles my spine because I didn't think that there was going to be a market for this or we'd find like a listening base for it. But, every single month we have more listeners just like you, So I haven't quite achieved your success yet, but someday.
Well, thank you so much, Marty. And go check him out. Franchise Interviews on Blog Talk Radio, my dear old friend from World Talk Radio.
Thanks
Marty
so much, Lynn. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, prosper.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.